Alright, so 10 minutes has officially started. Welcome to another 10-minute no edit anxiety talk where I just talk about my anxiety and there's no editing at all. I don't know why I'm saying this because I'm wasting time. I want to start off this video by saying that at the end of 2019, when everyone was saying, oh, 2020 is going to be my year, it's going to be the best year, while they were all saying that, I was having premonition that 2020 was not going to be a good year. And so when the virus was announced that it existed and was spreading, I wasn't surprised, I wasn't shocked, and I also have been doing a lot of research on the bubonic plague before all of this started. It's just kind of always been interesting to me. So I knew that this virus was going to last for a while. I knew it wasn't just going to be like 2 weeks and it's gone. Yeah, so I think that helped with my anxiety a little bit because it wasn't a surprise to me. It was kind of like I expected something bad to happen, or I just expected the year to not be good. And so when that was announced, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked. It didn't really affect my anxiety like other people when they heard about it and how serious it was. They got anxiety over it because they were so worried about it. And I didn't really feel that anxiety because there was nothing really to, like, I knew it was going to happen, kind of. So I didn't get any anxiety over that. And actually, during this whole quarantine, I have been feeling, here's how I describe it. Internally, I've been feeling very calm when there's chaos going on around me, like externally. So on the inside, and I don't know if I've always been good at doing this, but I do notice that in situations when there's chaos around me, when the environment around me is just so stressful, I'm very calm on the inside. Like, I'm able to keep myself calm and not stress out or get anxiety in like certain situations. So, you know how your skin has like 7 layers? Well, I think sometimes the stress did get to me and I would get stressed out. Like, that calmness would be overcome with so much stress. So like, it's kind of like when there's so much stress around me, if there's like enough, it kind of like pokes through one layer. And then if there's more, it'll poke through another. You know what I mean? So sometimes the stress did get to me and I did get stressed, but I never really got anxious. There is something that I've been working on, which somehow I got this, I don't want to call it a fear, but like if I think about going in someone else's car, I get anxious. Or I'll like back out from doing it, from going in their car. Which hasn't, obviously, like with quarantine and stay-at-home orders, I couldn't really go anywhere anyway. But I have been like practicing going in other people's cars, obviously safely, like with a family member. But I've been working on that. I brought my anxiety kit with me, and I was nervous when we first got in the car, but then my anxiety kind of dissipated as we were driving. So I had my anxiety kit with me, but I didn't need to use it. Now, the first time I experienced anxiety in a few months during this quarantine was when I got a call from work, from my job, saying that it's time to come back because I was, like where I worked, you couldn't go in. So I wasn't able to work for a few months, like during the stay-at-home quarantine. So when I got that call, I will tell you how long this call was. By the end of the call, I had pit stains. I had extreme pit stains, like huge. Just because I was so nervous, my heart was beating really fast. I couldn't really talk. Like, I knew what I wanted to ask on the phone when I got the call from work telling me to go back. And I knew like what questions I wanted to ask. It literally just says 5 minutes, so it was a 5-minute call. So I knew what questions I wanted to ask, but I couldn't speak. Like, I remember like I had specific questions about like masks and social distancing and what precautions were being put into effect. And I think on the phone I was just like, I have a question of masks. That was it, because I was like shaking, my voice was shaking, I had extreme pit stains. That call lasted 5 minutes. And I was sweating by the end of it. So I actually talked to my therapist before I went into work, and we laid out a plan of things I'm going to bring with me, like my anxiety kit and just some other things that will help me and things I can do that morning that will help me calm down. And that morning of when I had to go to work, I was feeling anxious. I think I slept the night before, like I was able to sleep, like anxiety didn't really keep me up. But that morning, I was feeling pretty anxious. I had that like, you know when you're anxious, it affects like your digestive system. So in my stomach, I just had this like space. Not space, but it wasn't space. I just had this feeling in my stomach with anxiety. So basically I was hungry, or I hadn't eaten a lot that day. But I couldn't tell that I was hungry because I just had this anxious feeling in my stomach. So eventually something happened in my personal life that I'm not going to talk about, but let's just say something made me mad. And I noticed that after I was not done being angry, but after that little like bit of anger, that pit was gone, and I recognized that I was hungry. My anxiety was completely gone. I only have 2 minutes left, but I told my therapist about this. She said that anger and anxiety are kind of linked. So if you feel like you can't speak, or if you feel like you're, I want to say being taken advantage of, that's not what she said, but I'm limited on time, so I'm just saying that. Like if you feel like someone's like overstepping their boundaries, then, and you're like holding it in, that can make you anxious. So like that anger, that feeling can make you anxious. And I remember describing it as, you know, cartoons, when they're angry, the steam comes out of their ears. It was almost like when I was angry, that steam coming out of my ears, that was like anxiety, like leaving my body. So they're linked. I can't really talk more about that because I'm limited on time. Maybe I'll talk about it in another video, but they are linked. After that, after my first day of work, well, while I was at work, I was still like anxious. I was like I kind of adapted back to the work scene, and it became familiar to me again. So I wasn't as anxious, but I still wasn't able to really communicate as much just because I was anxious and I was nervous. And then the week after that, I remember just thinking about how some people weren't social distancing or wearing masks, and there was like this feeling of unease, this like little layer of anxiety deep that I had that wasn't really affecting me, but it was like I would think about it. Like think about like how they weren't wearing masks, they weren't social distancing, and it just made me a little bit anxious, like a little bit feel a little uneasy. I have gone to work since then, and I have felt a little anxious on the ride there, but once I got there, I was fine. I have 7 seconds left. Thank you so much for watching this video. This went really quick, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks!